on YouTube. Be sure to check out RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com for plenty more Royal Caribbean news, information, fun advice is waiting for you over at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Happy Monday. Every Monday, I am live with you right here on YouTube, hanging out, talking about the most important thing in the whole wide world, which, of course, is going on a Royal Caribbean cruise. Thank you for joining us here. Happy Monday. We're here to answer as many Royal Caribbean cruise questions as possible, starting with the most important question. How many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Keep your countdown in chat. Let's count down together. My next cruise coming up in September, going on Independence of the Seas for a 3-night cruise. Already lots of friends in the chat. Even before our broadcast began, you guys are amazing. Love that. We also had some super chats before the broadcast began, which is equally amazing. Thank you all so much for super chats. Never expected, always appreciated, but thank you, thank you, thank you. Desiree Hall with a super chat earlier this afternoon. Desiree, thank you so much. Raymond Weaver had a super chat. Raymond wants to know, are you allowed to bring a 750 milliliter bottle of sparkling grape juice on board? And the answer is yes. I mean, you can bring up to 2 bottles of alcohol. Sparkling grape juice is, if there's alcohol, that's fine. It's wine, champagne, whatever you want to call it. That is totally fine. If it's just simply, if there's no alcohol, it's just non-alcoholic beverages, they usually don't even care. You're allowed to bring 12 bottles, cans, whatever, of like non-alcoholic beverages. I mean, 750 milliliters is a lot. I think that I don't know that they would necessarily know that it's not wine, but you're allowed to bring wine. Anyway, just put it in your carry-on baggage. You'll be fine on that one. Helg Hallen, thank you for the super chat. In getting prepared for my cruise to Hawaii on Ovation in October, when do they notify passengers of the theme nights? They don't. Unless you look it up ahead of time in the app or something like that, they don't let you know before the cruise. Royal Caribbean never lets people know about the theme nights, which is weird, I guess. Would previous cruise compasses show it? Yes, if you can find one that goes on Hawaii cruise. It's a pretty rare itinerary. There's not a ton of cruise compasses for that, but theoretically, you get a ballpark idea of what to expect. So my advice for you for theme nights, there's going to be 2 formal nights on your cruise. There's going to be, Caribbean night and a couple other themes. I mean, don't feel compelled that if you don't have an outfit for 70s night, it doesn't really matter, or Caribbean night. Very, very, very few people adhere to that. It's really formal night that's the most important thing. And if your cruise is less than 14 days or less, you're going to have 2 formal nights. So hope that makes sense. Jessica Beth said, thank you for the super chat, Jessica. Cruising solo on my upcoming cruises on Serenade of the Seas, and I'm wondering if I'll be assigned a solo table with other people. How can I find out? It depends. As a solo cruiser myself, many a time, I have been assigned a table by myself, and I've been assigned a table with other people. It's just kind of luck, chance, I guess. The only way you'll know is once you get on board the ship, on the bottom of your SeaPass card, it will indicate where your table is, and you can go scout it out once you get there. Any recommendations on solo cruising? A couple tips I'm going to jump through really quick as a solo cruiser. Number 1, splurge, treat yourself. Go to the spa, buy a dining package. I mean, you're by yourself, enjoy it. Number 2, talk to crew members. Crew members are great people to meet anyway, but as a solo cruiser, you might be a little missing conversation. Crew members are great for that. Look for a roll call online or a Facebook group for your sailing. Meet people who are on board your cruise before you get on board. And of course, get an internet package, share the experience with friends and family, or just on our message boards at royalcaribbeanblog.com, so that we have a kind of an outlet. And try lots of activities. I think it's really important as well when it comes to being able to enjoy the whole experience right there. Betty Eakin, Betty, thank you for the super chat. So enjoy all the chats, vlogs, and podcasts. Thank you so much, Betty. I really appreciate your support. I'm so glad you're enjoying this. That is fantastic. Fox from MEI Travel is here. Hello, Fox. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's see here. Joe Minnick was on Freedom last week. Nice. Susan Westfall, thank you for the super chat. Susan says, have reserved Mamma Mia on Allure next week. Will we get actual tickets or just name and cabin number at the door? None of the above, actually. So there's no tickets or anything. What you do, Susan, is when you get to the theater, they scan your SeaPass card, and you're on the list, essentially. So nothing extra to do or bring. Just simply show up to the theater, tell them you have a reservation. They'll scan your SeaPass card, and you're good to go. Thank you for your generosity, Susan. Always a pleasure to see you here. Prefer to see you on a cruise ship, but this is the next best thing. Griffin B, thank you for the super chat. What is your day job? This is my day job, believe it or not, royalcaribbeanblog.com. How do you afford and take all those cruises? Well, number one, I live in Florida. That helps a lot when it comes to that. Number two, I mean, it's no secret that a lot what you see here on YouTube, what you see on RealCaribbeanBlog.com, there's a lot of advertiser-based marketing. So you're going to get, the ads. Basically, you see ads, the sponsors pay money back to me, and that's basically how that works. Without getting too much into internet marketing. What used to be your job before YouTube? I was a web developer. Yeah, I was a web developer since I graduated college. And then I got laid off in 2019. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to try this blogging thing full time. And boy, my only regret is I didn't try it sooner. Let's see here. Lots of great countdowns coming up. 7 days till freedom. Don Barnett's got 4 days till freedom. Sharon McMahon for 6 days till Allure. Nice. Let's see here. Garrett wants to know. Are the menus on all 7-night sailings the same on all ships in the main dining room? Probably. I'm not sure we've necessarily yet determined a pattern to it, Garrett, but I think they are. I think the only difference might be, Garrett, if you're in a cruise ship in Europe versus the US, maybe like British night shows up in the repertoire versus here in North America, but they're going to be probably the same. The order can be different. That can be one difference. But in terms of the actual theme nights, I think more than likely on a 7-night cruise, they're going to be more similar than not, if that makes sense. But again, I'm not sure that we necessarily nailed down like a specific pattern to what it might be. Dr. Emily Acevedo, sorry about that. Do you recommend the massages? They're not cheap, but they're a great way to splurge yourself. On our last cruise on Navigator, my wife and I did a couples massage, which I don't think we've done a couples massage since like our honeymoon. I thought, let's just try it again. It was fun. It was really enjoyable, I mean, listen, they're not cheap, Emily. If you're looking for a more cost-effective or a cheaper massage, you can usually find them in the ports that you're visiting. But on Royal Caribbean, let me tell you something. At least you don't have to worry about the quality. You have to worry about, gosh, is this a shady place or not? Good quality. I've never left a massage feeling like it was not good. Certainly, they can be pricey, but between specials on board the ship and deals before the cruise, at least you have an idea of what you're getting in with in terms of costs, and I enjoy them. So yeah, I think they are worth it. But again, you could also take that money and spend on other things, which is true of pretty much everything in life. Let's see here. Matt wants to know, if someone has never been on a cruise before, what duration do you recommend going on? Great question. A lot of first-time cruisers say, oh, I've never been on a cruise, so let me take the shortest cruise possible, like a 3 or 4 night cruise. And I think that's a mistake. And the reason why I think a short cruise for a first-timer is a mistake is because the cruise is over so quickly, you don't have a good amount of time to get a sense of what there is to do on board. It's actually, in my opinion, better to do like a 7-night cruise. For a first-timer, that way you get a good blend of sea days, port days. Also, most Royal Caribbean cruise ships that are new do the 7-night cruises. So you're going to get, not always, you pick a 7-night cruise on an older ship, but you're going to get probably a chance at one of their newer ships, which are, more impressive, has more to do on board. So a 7-night cruise on an Oasis or a Quantum or an Icon class cruise ship, I think is a great idea for a first-time cruiser. Not to say you can't have a good time on a shorter cruise, but just saying. Stephanie wants to know, where can you book the comedy shows? If you're on an Oasis or Quantum class ship, you can pre-book it via the Cruise Planner website. If you're on another class, like you're on a Voyager class or Rating class, you don't and you can't pre-book it. So hope that makes sense. Let's see here. Jack, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Can you order an entree off the kids menu as an appetizer? Absolutely. I did this on one cruise. I was just in the mood for spaghetti, and it wasn't on the adult menu, but it's always available on the kids menu. I asked and I got it. So yeah, absolutely, 100%. Kids can order off the adult menu. Adults can order off the kids menu in the main dining room. There's no limitation there. So, Jason Achilles. Jason, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. I know they change what they leave in your room for Crown and Anchor members. Do you get your Diamond Plus preference? Yes. For that one, you either have to call to set your preference as a Diamond Plus member, like you want chocolates or a bottle of water or what have you. You need to either call Royal Caribbean's Crown and Anchor number, or the next time you're on a cruise ship, speak to the loyalty ambassador about changing it. We usually just wait for our next cruise and change it. And granted, we cruise a lot, so there's usually an opportunity for that. But if you cruise like once a year, you probably want to call the Crown and Anchor number and get that change there. So let's see here. Next question. Yeah, Matt. When Matt says, "Can you tilt your camera down? Can you see your eyes?" I'll look at you guys when I'm reading, giving you the answers back. But when I have to read in order, the computer's down here. Sorry. I feel like it's not ideal. Ideally, the computer would be like up here, and then it'd be eye level, and it'd be like, yeah, we're not that sophisticated. I'm also, in case you guys are wondering, I'm in Denver right now in an Airbnb, so this is not my home base of operations. It's a little jankier than usual, so apologies on that. And Whipple, and thank you for the super chat. 68 days till alert. When you reserve the shows, are those seats that are marked down in front? No. When you reserve a show, Anne, there are no actual reserved seats. It's not like the movie theater where you're like, oh, seat 7, row 8. It doesn't work that way. When you reserve shows on Royal Caribbean, all it reserves for you is admission. Actual reserved seats are only there for if Star Class. Sometimes there's reserved seating, like a specific row if you're in a suite or if you're Diamond Plus. But there's not actual reserve. It's first come, first serve for the seating once you get in the theater otherwise. Let's see here. Kathy says, can you tell me where I can find info for Fort Lauderdale port to get to the airport after cruise? Oh, you want to get from the cruise over and get to Fort Lauderdale? It's just Fort Lauderdale Airport. They're right next to each other. The Fort Lauderdale port and the Fort Lauderdale Airport are literally next to each other. So if you want to get back, there's a couple ways to get back to the airport. You can just walk outside the terminal, hop in a taxi. Royal Caribbean offers transfers. You can book it through Royal Caribbean. You can do Lyft or Uber. I would just do Lyft or Uber. That's my preferred method, but to each their own. So there's a number. It's like the easiest port to get to from Fort Lauderdale because the airport and the cruise port are like right next to each other. You can't walk. It's not that close, but you can easily get a very, very short drive right there. Let's see here. Mima Ev, even though we're Cape Cod, we are here. Appreciate the support. Love that. Thank you for joining us here. You guys are amazing. I said this right. Cletus, thank you for the super chat, Cletus. 152 days till Symphony. What's your top excursion for Aruba and Curacao? I feel like I've gotten this question like the most over the last couple of weeks. Anyway, Aruba is Palm Beach or Eagle Beach. Curacao, I like to walk downtown, explore on your own. And then when you get kind of hot or after you have lunch, whatever happens first, take a taxi to Mambo Beach. So Palm Beach or Eagle Beach for Aruba. And you can take a taxi. You don't need to book anything in advance. For Curacao, walk downtown, explore, shop, have lunch, and then take a taxi to Mambo Beach, Mambo. I see Sugar is in the chat. What's up, Sugar? Hope you're doing well, man. Miss you, brother. Sorry we couldn't meet up when we were in NorCal, but that just means we have to take another cruise right there. Let's see here. Oh my God, Smokey Bandit in the chat. Smokey Bandit. Listen, I have a lot of respect for Smokey Bandit. Great guy, great family, dude. Colorado has the worst drivers in the world. Terrible drivers. Construction for traffic for no reason. I'm never driving through Colorado again. I drove from Glenwood Springs to Denver today, and it was a disaster for no reason. I'm sorry, dude. You're amazing, but I'm never coming back to Denver. I'm never going back to Colorado again. I'm never driving through Colorado again. It was terrible. I can laugh about it now. An hour ago, I was not laughing about it. But good to see you. Let's see here. Cruising with the Cockfields. What's up, Cruising with the Cockfields? Hi, Matt. We have the dining package on Wonder this October, but wondering, is brunch on Mason Jar included? We can't find the brunch menu in the app. I have to sneeze. Hold on. Sorry, I don't have a mute button on this computer. We have the dining package. Is brunch included? Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely. When you have a dining package, brunch or dinner is included in the Mason Jar there. If you can't find it, I think we have a copy of the menu on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com if you search over there. But yeah, I'm surprised it's not. When you go to the app, there's usually like a little sub menu at the top. You can just look between brunch and dinner and whatnot. Jack wants to know, can you order an entree if the kids' menu is an appetizer? Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Brooke, thank you for the super chat, Brooke. 47 days till grandeur. What do you think about the ship? Are there lots to do for a 2-year-old? Lots to do for a 2-year-old? No. Is there stuff for a 2-year-old to do? Yeah. I mean, when you're sailing on a Vision class ship with like Grandeur, it's an older, smaller ship in the fleet. So certainly compared to a newer, bigger ship, there's not as much to do. That doesn't mean your 2-year-old's gonna have a terrible time. As I recall, it's been a couple of years since my kids were that age, but they liked the biggest problem I think for you as with a 2-year-old is if your 2-year-old is not potty trained, which is probably the case because I don't know any 2-year-olds that are potty trained. They can't go in the pool. There's no kids pool on board. That's going to be the biggest struggle point, I think. That being said, the cruise is probably costing you way less than if you booked a cruise on a bigger ship. Not to mention the fact that you'll be going to different places in wherever you're going, Caribbean, wherever, that are going to offer pools and beaches and things you can go to. So it's not like say you can't ever get in the water, but on the ship, if you have a diaper, you can't get in the pool there. That's probably the biggest issue I think you might face over there. I think you still have a great time. I remember taking when my oldest daughter was not potty trained. We went on Jewel of the Seas, and they didn't have a kids pool on there, and we kind of were like, okay, well, we're not going on another ship that doesn't have a kids pool, or until our kids get potty trained. So been there, done that, but we still had a good time. So don't take it as like, oh gosh, it's a terrible cruise. Just that's probably the biggest issue I think you're going to run into. How do I feel about Resort for a Day? Love Resort for a Day. Full disclosure, we have an affiliate sponsorship with resortforaday.com, but you have to click on the link in order for that to kick in. Anyway, I've used them. I use them for myself and my family all the time. When I was on Navigator of the Seas a couple weeks ago, we booked a Resort for a Day stay in Puerto Vallarta. So I use them all the time. I think they're great. It's very straightforward. I think they do a great job. Let's see here. Answering your next questions here. JC, thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, JC, so I'm going to look for it. Sometimes they get disconnected. Oh, there it is. Found it. JC says, followed your advice and used a travel agent. Yammy I. Got an unobstructed ocean view balcony for less than I can book an interior on my own. Can't wait, dude. That is like there's a ton of good reasons to use a good travel agent, but this is a great example of why a good travel agent is so important because, JC saw the price on the internet as much as anybody, but, obviously contacted MEI Travel and they got an even better deal. So, hey, that is awesome. Love that. Let's see here. Next question is from Edgar, who wants to know, can you reserve seats for the shows in the Diamond Lounge? I think the Diamond Concierge can do it for you, but your best, obviously not seats, like, admission into a show, assuming you're on an Oasis or Quantum class ship, but your best bet is to reserve it via the Royal Caribbean app. Now, could you go there if there is availability? I believe the Diamond Concierge can do that for you on your behalf, but if I were you, Edgar, I would book it via the app. It's just they do go quite quickly. And honestly, I would do it actually before the cruise, to be perfectly honest with you. Let's see here. Lots of great questions, guys. Trying to answer as many as I can. Lucho wants to know, will Utopia of the Seas be better than Wonder of the Seas? Great question. And the answer is, better is a subjective term, right? What do you mean by better? It'll be slightly bigger and it'll be newer. There will be differences when it comes to the Oasis class ships, between Wonder and Utopia. There's going to be different entertainment on Utopia compared to Wonder. There's also going to be a couple of dining differences on Utopia compared to Wonder. Namely, there'll be Izumi in the park. There'll be Giovanni's Italian Kitchen in a new location. There'll be no Wonderland. There'll be the new immersive dining experience, the train car thing that we've seen a little bit of a teasing of down on deck 4. So there'll be subtle differences, not major ones. Is that better than Wonder? Depends on your preference, I guess, more than anything. So possibly. Let's see here. Excuse me. Max wants to know what hotel to recommend if applying to Orlando and cruising out of Port Canaveral. You have 2 choices. Well, more than 2, but your choice is either you're going to go to the port in Cocoa Beach area and get a hotel there, or stay in Orlando and get a hotel and then drive over the next day. There's not right or wrong answer. Hotels in Canaveral tend to be more expensive because there's fewer of them, whereas in Orlando, which is a major tourist market, there's a ton of hotels you can choose from. You know, the Home 2 Suites in Canaveral was fantastic. I like that. I stayed there recently, and I like that quite a bit. So, yeah. Disney Fan 1, Matt, we need you to do Disney pods again. Absolutely not. Never again. Disney World is not what it used to be. I hesitate to say that it stinks, but it stinks. Do you have a favorite cruise port to sail out of? Well, I mean, Port Canaveral, I like Port Canaveral because it's closest to my house, so it's the shortest drive. But the truth is, I really enjoy sailing out of Miami and Tampa. They're both very scenic sailways, so I like those for those reasons. Oh, dude, Orlando drivers are nothing. First of all, there's no traffic in Orlando. It's a joke, any traffic we do have. And we have giant open highways. Maybe it's just I-70 I never want to drive through again. Maybe there's other highways in Colorado that are amazing, but I-70, my God, terrible drivers. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Let's see. Do I only answer Royal Caribbean questions? Yeah, primarily. I've only ever cruised on Royal Caribbean for the most part. So if you got a Carnival or Norwegian question or Disney, we have a sister website, cruise.blog. You can go check out, and maybe you'll get your answer over there. Thank you all for the blessed user earlier. Appreciate it. Danny, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Danny wants to know 3 days of Serenade to the Seas. What is a must do in Cozumel? I think go to a beach club. It's hard to go wrong with them. There's a number of them. Paradise Beach, Nachi there's many more beach clubs, but these places where you go to the beach club and there's food, there's drink, there's a pool, there's the ocean, there's activities. It's a very family-friendly, welcoming experience. It's usually a home run for most people. It's going to be probably hot anyway. So that's my go-to number one thing to recommend in Cozumel. Do you know what brand of sunscreen you need to buy? I don't believe Mexico has specific, like they're not like the coral safe stuff. I mean, they recommend it, but I don't believe Mexico has any restrictions on what sunscreen you should buy. My advice is just in general. Well, number one is a reef safe sunscreen is a good idea in general, but also get a very high SPF because you can easily burn. No question about it. And Whipple, and thank you again for the super chat. Hey, Matt, we in Colorado. Are you? We're in Aurora. Yeah, I'm in Denver. But hey, look at that. We're practically neighbors. But thank you again for your generosity here. Let's see here. John says, I'm an experienced cruiser and you're even more experienced. Can you give me a tip that's not well known and I probably not know? A real head scratcher for you. I think one that comes to my mind, there's probably more than this, but one that comes to my mind is the old trick if you're cruising solo to book a second fake person. What I mean by this is if you're cruising by yourself, you may be inclined to go to the website and put in one person. Sometimes it's actually cheaper to book two people, but you're saying, well, I don't have a second person. Make up a name. Put your spouse, brother, mother, make up a name. It doesn't really matter. When they don't, it's okay if there's a no-show for that second person. But in many cases, I found this to be cheaper than booking it solo. The only issue with this little tip that I'm just sharing with you, that's a financial tip. The problem with that tip is Royal Caribbean seems to have changed their policy in regards to the Crown and Anchor points, because once upon a time, you would still get double points with that little trick. Nowadays, I don't think that's still the case. So that could be an issue if you're trying to move up the system quicker. You'll still get Crown and Anchor points. There's not the same amount as if you book cruise by yourself, but it is a way to save money sometimes. Rodney, thank you for the super chat. Will Royal Caribbean build more private getaways like Coco Key and less destination countries? Love different cultures, but not just another private beach. I mean, they've already said from the get-go, when they announced the Perfect Day project back in 2017, whatever it was, their intention was to have a number of Perfect Day experiences. As an example, Labadee, we know, is supposed to at some point get transformed over to Perfect Day. And that hasn't happened, obviously. And the pandemic didn't help anything. We also know about Perfect Day at Lalepa, which is over in the South Pacific, in Vanuatu, which is on pause, but eventually that'll get built. And it's supposed to be, like, I remember at the time they mentioned like up to 5. So if you're doing your math correctly, that's Coco Key, Labadee, Vanuatu. You got 2 more left. But in terms of, destination countries, I mean, obviously any port a cruise ship goes to is ultimately up to that country to develop the port. In some cases, the cruise lines partner with the country. Nassau, their new one is a partnership. Costa Maya is another partnership. Falmouth is another partnership between the cruise lines and the country. But more often than not, if you want a new place to go, especially in the Caribbean, the country has to develop its infrastructure to support it, which is usually at this point in the game, either they have it or they're not going to have it because they're either content with where they are or they don't have the money for it or it's not conducive to get ships in. They don't have a deep harbor, blah, 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 so forth and so on. Let's see here. Dave and Sherry. Dave, thanks for the super chat. Hi, Matt, 201 days. So, honestly, we're interested in hearing your thoughts on Yosemite and Tahoe. Been there, done that, or can't wait to go again? Oh, can't wait to go again. Both places were amazing. This is nothing to do with cruising, but this is where I was the last couple of weeks. First of all, I love colder weather. For summertime, it was fantastically comfortable in both places. So that's a big thumbs up from Matt. But they were both beautiful. Tahoe, I could see myself living in, or at least vacationing in. I loved it. It's beautiful, and there's certainly more civilization than Tahoe than Yosemite. Yosemite is obviously, I mean, it's just a massive park, so you're not getting Uber Eats over there. But it's really impressive, utterly beautiful. I was impressed by it more so than I thought I was going to be. So definitely not a one and done for either. I would love to go back. I'd probably go back to Tahoe before I go back to Yosemite just because of the logistics involved. But yeah, it should be those places should be on everybody's must-see visit list if you're ever considering a non-cruise ship vacation. Next question. Thank you, Becky. Yeah, this is the best of Denver, Colorado. Sorry. The last couple of weeks you had amazing views of Yosemite and Lake Tahoe. Today you're getting a closet view, and that's it, all right? It's good enough. Seasons Gold wants to know. 4 Days Alaska, thoughts on virtual balcony inside cabins. It's better than a regular inside cabin. It's not a replacement for a balcony, but it is an upgrade from a regular inside cabin. And is Wi-Fi worth it? If you're going to Alaska, actually, one of my friends, Earl, is on Ovation currently. He actually asked for a refund. The Wi-Fi in Alaska is really bad for two reasons. One, the latitude, you're really far north, and two, there's a lot of mountains that prevent the signal from coming in. So if I was going to Alaska, I'd be very excited. I would still buy it because I have RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and that's important to be, if I'm connected half the day, that's better than nothing at all. But it's a frustrating experience with the Wi-Fi. So it depends on how important the Wi-Fi is. The good news is when you're in port, your cell phones work and they work quite well. But as soon as you leave port, it's gone. Ashley has a question about Gun and Nachi. Really want to go, but I'm concerned about taking a taxi in Mexico. Is Cozumel a pretty safe area for taking a taxi? Yes. There is no guarantees out there, Ashley. But I have found taxis very plentiful, easy to get one. You'll get one in both from the cruise port and at pickup. Never a problem. Never once a problem getting a taxi. And I feel they're very safe. I mean, the good news is Mexico has its issues, just like the U.S. does. But at the same time, Cozumel is on an island. It's separated from the mainland. It seems to always be not have the same issues. Not that there isn't crime or issues on Cozumel. There are, but I have always felt comfortable taking taxis in Cozumel. It's the easiest way to get around. It's cost effective. I certainly have never had a problem with it taking my wife or my daughters over there. Nicholas, thank you for the super chat, my friend. 139 days till Oasis. My ship stops at Labadee and Coco Cay. What is unique to each island? So Labadee and Coco Cay are Royal Caribbean's private destination. So when you go there, these are places that are operated by the cruise line. So there's no cultural things there. But what is interesting about them, they both have beach experiences that you can go to. And of course, your ship will be the only ship there in terms of no other cruise lines, that is. Sometimes you might have another Royal Caribbean cruise ship at Coco Cay with you. But you've got beaches, you've got pools. For both of them, both Labadee and Coco Cay, Nicholas, we have video walkthrough tours to give you an idea of what to expect. My best advice, this sounds self-serving because it kind of is, but I mean this honestly. You want to go to our YouTube channel here and watch those video tours to get you a sense of what to expect over there. I love the Oasis Lagoon at Coco Cay is really fantastic and something you only find at Coco Cay. In Labadee, obviously, they have amazing beaches as well, but also the Adrenaline zip line, the Adrenaline Beach is the name. The Dragon's Breath zip line is really cool. So those are two things that really step out there. Let's see here. Next question. Jack wants to know, if I'm a Canadian selling out of Miami, do I need anything other than my valid passport? A credit card. That's about it. Credit card, passport. I always joke with my wife, Jack, whenever we're going on a cruise, whether it's American or Canadian, same thing. You know, she's like, oh, what if we forgot something? I'm like, listen, all we need is a passport and our credit card, and we can get on board the cruise ship. So that's all. That's all you need. You could certainly benefit from other things, but need is the key word right there. Let's see here. Is the coffee package worth it, JT? If you enjoy having more than just black coffee in the morning, yeah, it can be. The nice thing about the coffee package, unlike the drink package, is you can share the coffee package benefits. So I think it is worth it, assuming you like lattes and macchiatos and things of that nature. AD says, Caroline at MEI was a pleasure to work with. My first trip with a travel agent. Caroline is one of the travel agents I've known among the longest at MEI Travel, and she is fantastic. Caroline was, I'm going to say this, I think she was like the first Royal Caribbean blog super fan. She was like, Matt, you should do group cruises for RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. And I was like, Caroline, you are crazy. That'll never happen. Here we are, Tony Diaz, 20 years later. So Caroline is awesome. Let's see here. Ron, I really thought about drivers in New Jersey. At least in New Jersey, there are bad drivers everywhere, but trust me, drive on I-70 in Colorado. At least people in Jersey drive fast. In Colorado, it's like, you know what? The speed limit says 70, 55 is good enough. We'll just and we're going to be in the left lane the entire time. That'll be totally fine. Sherry, yes, MEI Travel is a travel agency. I don't work for MEI Travel. They're a sponsor of RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, but I use them for all my cruises. And I always, when my parents need a cruise or friends, always recommend them to them. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is on that one. Next question. Sorry, there's a lot of questions here. I'm trying to get to as many as I possibly can. M. Wyhan Lee, thank you for the super chat. Do I see a message from you? I found it. I've been dying to ask these questions. Are there halal options? They're a good question. I don't know. They have kosher options. And for the if you want real kosher options, it's one of those microwaved meals, like it's a plastic thing and they just bring it to you. If you just want you don't want to have pork with you don't want pork, you don't want meat with cheese, they can just prepare that for you. For halal, I'm not sure if they offer specifically those kind of prepackaged halal meals, but they certainly can prepare certain foods. For dietary restriction like that, what I would recommend to you is to Google Royal Caribbean Special Needs Form and put that in there and see what they get back to you. What is there to do in Nassau? I think Nassau, Bahamas. My recommendation to you is to pre-book an excursion. Don't walk off the ship and be like, hey, what should we do now? So resortforaday.com is where I usually go for something to do in Nassau. Resortforaday.com. And again, that form, just Google Royal Caribbean Special Needs Form. You can fill it out and send it to Royal Caribbean, and they do a pretty good job of helping you out with that one. Obviously, one other thing for the halal option, when you get on board the cruise ship, go to the main dining room before dinner and speak to the head waiter. Make sure they have that request on file for you. Let's see here. Lisa wants to know, is the coaster worth the money in Labadee? I did it for the first time actually last March 22, and I liked it quite a bit. It's a little, I think if you're going to do the coaster, do the all day one, because like the cost difference between one ride and the all day pass is like negligible. But if you like that thrill ride kind of experience, yeah, I mean, it's not like super thrilling. Like it's not like, oh my God, you're going to cry or anything like that, but it's a pretty fast ride. So yeah, I do think so. Lucretia, thank you for the super chat. Going on Harmony in February, any recommendations or do not misses? Whenever it comes to an Oasis class cruise ship like Harmony of the Seas, I always recommend trying to do as many shows as possible. The shows really stand out in Royal Caribbean in general, but especially the Oasis class. You see the shows in the Aqua Theater, in the Royal Theater, in Studio B. They are really great, must-see kind of experience. I really recommend those quite a bit, so don't miss out anything there. And if you're looking for a specialty restaurant meal, Izumi Hibachi is a must-do. And then, of course, just enjoy all the activities. There's so many cool things to do: laser tag, water slides, and do as much as you can over there. Hybrid Fitness wants to know, have you ever heard about anybody renting out the solarium during a 7-night cruise? We're going on Oasis, and there's supposedly a group that's going to rent it out for the whole week. I have heard of these things happening, yes. Usually, when they rent out a venue like that, it's not the whole day, maybe for a couple hours every day or something like that. But yes, this is part of the group's experience. Again, I would, before you jump off the deep end, no pun intended, with worrying, you might consider that it might not be for the entire day, like you can't go in it at all. I can understand why you'd be frustrated with it. I mean, I can understand that certainly. Basically, there are different groups that go. There are all sorts of groups that go on board the ship, and the larger the group, the more possible this is to occur. Partial, charters are a thing where not the entire ship is chartered out, as opposed to like if you're on, like a theme cruise, like a Star Trek cruise, right? This can happen where but then you have to book it through this particular group. You can't just go on RoyalCaribbean.com and book the cruise, or even go through MEI Travel. But I have heard of these things, but I would be pretty surprised if it was for the entire cruise every day. No one else could use it because the solarium's kind of a big venue, Like as an example, when we do Royal Caribbean Blog group cruises, we've rented out the water slides for an hour though on one day, not for the entire cruise. So it's hard for me to answer your question with absolute certainty. Queen WDG, thank you for the super chat. Do I see a message? Oh, I found it. Queen says, I'll be taking my first cruise. My family were thinking March. Is that a good month? Royal Caribbean Bahamas cruise. March is great. Weather-wise, it might be the best month of the year. It's not hot yet. I mean, it's not like overwhelmingly hot. Like right now, it's really hot down there. It's hot, but not super hot. The humidity is not too bad. The biggest issue with March is it's spring break. So what does that mean? There are going to be more families on board. The price of a cruise is probably going to cost you more in March than it would if you did a cruise in January. But book early. Maybe you already know this. I've talked this a lot, but it's a great time of year to go on a cruise. So yes. Dave, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Just saying thank you for all you do to keep us so well informed. You rock. You are very welcome. Thank you, Dave, for your amazing generosity, sir. You are the man. Thank you. Lauren, I'm gonna take a drink of water and answer your question here. Lauren wants a recommendation for a driving tour of Roatan, looking for a non-beach day, but not with sloths. Also, favorite meal, 150 Central Park. The beef tenderloin for 2 at 150 Central Park is amazing. Do that. Roatan. Oh, there's a. Hold on a second. There's a website, and every time I've recommended this quite a bit. Oh, it is discoverroatan.net. Discoverroatan.net. I've not used them, but I've heard very good things about them. Discoverroatan.net. They have a number of tours you can book, and that might be where I would look for something like that. So there are non-beach stuff to do in Roatan, believe it or not. And you don't have to hold a sloth either. Andrew wants a recommendation for an Alaska cruise. Want to book one in 2025. If it's your first Alaska cruise and you're an American, I would book one of the ships out of Seattle. You can't book it. I don't think 25 is out yet, right? But a cruise out like Ovation to the Seas out of Seattle, 7 nights. That's a great first one for you. No question about it. Carrie B. Carrie, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. Have you used Brightline service in Florida? No, it's not. I've been gone for a month now, but it was not open when I was the last time I tried to go down there. They're still trying to get, I believe, permission to start up service. I think the earliest you can book it is September, but I'm not aware that they've opened service yet. But I'm looking forward to doing that because, dude, I hate the drive to South Florida, so I would love to do that if that's possible. Let's see here. Next question. 67 Cadillac wants to know, what are some must-dos on Wonder of the Seas? Honestly, it's very similar to what I just said about Harmony. See the shows. I think you have to go go to the Mason Jar at night and see the country band there. They are fantastic. That is definitely a must-see on there as well. Traveling Foodies, welcome. Glad to have you here. How often do I cruise? I try to cruise about once a month. I'm not going to do a cruise in the month of July. I'm short of a miracle. So I didn't do one in the month of July. the world is still spinning, last I checked, but right around once a month or so, give or take. So, next question is from Adam, who is planning a cruise on Anthem in January. Not my or my wife's first cruise, but my first cruise for my 7 and 5-year-olds is 11 days on Anthem, longer than I should plan for my kid's first cruise. I mean, listen, if you already booked the cruise, I would not have buyer's remorse. I think it's going to be a great time. They'll have a good time. It's not a problem. I mean, I think that Anthem's a great ship for kids that age. So no, the fact it's longer than 7 nights, more vacation, more fun. I think that's great. I don't think it's a problem at all. No. I was going to say something else, but I really think because you booked Anthem and because your kids are slightly older, 7 and 5, not like, 2 and 4, something like that, I think it's a great idea. I think you chose wisely. And the fact that it's a longer cruise, that's even better. That'll mean you'll probably go to some more exotic destinations. And you get to enjoy the ship more. And there's a lot to do on the ship, including in the seaplex. So I think your kids are going to love that ship. Good choice. Brooke Cordova. Brooke, thank you for the super chat. Thank you again for the super chat, I should say. Will road rating accept the copy of birth certificate? No, it has to be. It has to have the raised seal. So certainly you get it. Obviously go get a copy. Like, okay, we need another copy, but it needs to be an original, like with the raised seal. It can't be a photocopy. So if you lost the original, you need to call your health county or the hospital wherever you're born and ask for another copy with the raised seal on it. It needs to be like that kind of document, not a, hey, we have a photocopy of one or a fax, something like that. That does not that does not work right there. Rita, thank you for the super chat. Rita, do I see a message from Rita here? No. I'm looking, Rita. I'm looking. Well, I don't see it, Rita, but I'll keep an eye out for it. Thank you very much. I don't know why I started that one. Sorry, wrong button. All right, and Wanda, thank you for the super chat. Sometimes these super chats don't come in the same message here, as you can see. So Wanda and Rita, I'm looking for. Wanda and Rita. Russ Crawford in the chat. Should I be concerned Talia's points and yells when she sees you on the big screen? That's the guy who got my grandpa drunk. Hi, Talia. Hi. Tell grandma you want her to book you another cruise. Say, I don't know what you call her, but and you probably can't understand anything I'm saying anyway. Grandma, buy me cruise. Repeat after me. Grandma, buy me cruise. Grandma, buy me cruise. Actually, probably should tell you to tell your pop-up to buy one because he'll do anything you say. Let's see here. Does Royal Caribbean offer payment plans? They do. Yes, there is. I forget the name of the company, but there is a service you can go through to do a payment plan, Matt. My advice to you, though, I mean, by the way, one of the things, if you don't want to do a payment plan, like as in those kind of payment plans are a credit card, like there's a finance fee, but you can keep paying your cruise after your cruise occurs. But if you want to make payments between, like you have a cruise in 2024 and you want to make payments between now and your cruise, but not finance them, you can totally do that. Just call up periodically and make payments. You don't have to finance it. The financing thing, the thing I was initially talking about, that is meant for people who want to finance the cost of their vacation beyond when they sail. My advice to you is don't do it. If you need that kind of financing, I hate to say it, you shouldn't go on the cruise. You can't afford it. You should only go on vacation in general, and when you can afford it, you don't pay it off at once, but you should be able to pay it off between now and your travel date. Anyway, I know you didn't come for financial advice. It's just my own personal opinion. But there is ways to make payments between now and your final payment date, and your travel agent can help you with that as well. Will there be a replay of this live? Absolutely, yes. All the live videos we do, you can as soon as this is over, it's on our YouTube channel. Absolutely. Are all Matts awesome, or is it just us? Obviously, if your name is Matt, you are awesome. Absolutely. What is your favorite port in Norway? Ooh, I would, of the ones I went to, well, I love Bergen because I love cities, so I like Bergen quite a bit. But I think I loved it so much. I can't think of the name right now. What was the one with the amazing view of the fjord? Fjord. Starts with a G. The one that starts with a G, fjord. That one was amazing. No doubt about it. Let's see here. Are you going to be on Symphony in December? I am not. Not at this rate, anyway. Next question. Mr. Russ Crawford, thank you again for the super chat, buddy. Appreciate you. Hopefully, my little our grand plan here has worked out in your favor. I don't know if she can say anything, but we're trying our best here. Sooner or later, it'll work. K-Brush wants to know, do you usually spend the whole day at port on port days? It depends on the port. It depends on my plan. So, like, if we're going to do, like, if we go through a resort for a day and we book a resort stay, we spend the whole day. But sometimes we'll, like in Nassau, I might just get off the ship for an hour, have a beer in town, and come back on board the ship. Sometimes if it's a long day in port, maybe we'll only spend the morning. And when it gets too hot, we come back to the cruise ship. I know it's kind of a lame answer. It depends, but it does really depend. I'm not always in port all the time or not in port all the time right there. So let's see here. Sean wants to know, I've heard one-way cruises from Puerto Rico do not require a U.S. passport due to some loophole. Ever heard of this? No. Puerto Rico is part of the United States, so the rules still apply there. In terms of not needing a passport, the only way that you can cruise without a passport on Royal Caribbean is if you are sailing on a closed loop sailing. So a sailing that begins and ends in the same port, and you're a U.S. citizen, and by that same port is in the U.S. So, your cruise begins in Miami, 7 days later you come back to Miami, then you can cruise without a passport. You can cruise with a birth certificate, original birth certificate, and state-issued ID. We have another super chat coming in from Deltau87. I think that's your fraternity or sorority. But I don't have a message from you. Man, it's hard to find. Sometimes they're like right after the other, and I can find it really quickly. But I am on the struggle bus finding them right now. I do have one here from Tim. I'll keep an eye out for it. Tim, thank you for the super chat. And recommendations for Port Canaveral. We've been there before, but wasn't sure if there's any must-dos. I would say, if you're coming in before your cruise, just take a drive down A1A, which is the name of the street there. There's a number of shops and restaurants and ice cream. I think that's pretty much it. That's what I would do. Don't feel obliged. It's not like the most amazing place on earth. I mean, it's nice, but if you come in at 7 o'clock at night, don't feel like you need to go out just for the sake of going out. Let's see here. 67 Cadillac wants to know, cruising out of California, things you love about cruising out of there. If you're doing the 7-night itinerary, that itinerary, Western Mexico is absolutely stunning and beautiful. It's really nice. It's very different than Eastern Mexico. So if you've been there, done that, Cozumel, Costa Maya, well, Puerto Vallarta, Cabo, Mazatlan, they are very different ports. You won't even realize they're the same country, quite frankly. So, yep. Thank you, Smoky Bandit. Royal Caribbean uses a firm for the payment plan. So that was the question earlier about that. I'm still looking for like 3 super chats here that I've not found. Sometimes people just send super chats because they want to support it, which is great. Thank you. But I haven't found it. Gerenger. I think that's misspelled, but that is the name of the. Thank you. That's the name of the fjord that I could not think of. Gerenger. Yeah, I've not been to Stavanger. We didn't go there on my Anthem of the Seas cruise. I've heard very good things about that. But yeah. Wait, did I go to Stavanger? Wait a minute. Did I go there? My answer is Geringer. Joseph wants to know, does Johnny Rockets and Liberty Seas serve complimentary breakfast? They do not. It's only on Oasis class cruise ships. Are you going to be on vacation until your cruise in September? No, we're going back home next week. So next Monday, if my flight is on time, that's a big if, I'll be back in my home studio for YouTube Live, and I'll be exhausted, but I will be back next Monday. So no, I'm going back home. Womp womp. Susan Westfall, thank you for the amazing super chat. And Susan also knows the answer because Susan was there with me on that cruise, and we actually hung out. We had a nice little chat in Geringer. Thank you. I just couldn't for the life of me. You know what? It's been too long since I've cruised. My brain is starting to forget these things. Let's see here. All right, we got a husband, we got a spouse fight. Let me settle this for you. Husband wanted to clarify that when printing the boarding document package, you don't have to print for each person in the cabin listed on the front page. I said you only need to print it one time. Husband said boarding document, you don't have to print for each person. I'm not sure I understand the fight here. You need a set sail pass for everybody. So if there's 4 of you, you need to have a set sail pass for you, your husband, 2 other people, right? You do need to have that. If you show up feisty JM with just your set sail pass, yeah, they can probably look you up, but they're going to need to issue a new set sail pass anyway. So do yourself print one out for every single person. I would say go one step further. You're both wrong. Don't print anything. Just get your phone, get the Royal Caribbean app, and put it on there. It's way easier. I have a lot of messages waiting for me. Hold on a second, guys. My mom wants to know what to order for dinner. I'll tell my wife to text her. Can you text my mom about dinner? She tried calling me, even though she knows that I'm live on YouTube right now. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, use the Royal Caribbean app is definitely the right play right there. How far in advance can you purchase the drink package or VOOM? It depends. There isn't a set time, Kimberly, where it's like this many days before the cruise, it will be there. You just got to keep checking back. So 6 months is usually what I recommend. Running short on time here, so we're going to catch up with some of the super chats. Noel, thank you for the super chat. 129 days till ovation in New Zealand. Are there any excursions you would recommend in New Zealand? Actually, what's interesting, one of our writers, Jenna, is going to Australia for not New Zealand though. She's going to do a South Pacific and a Trans Australia cruise. She's going to be researching this. So I do not have any recommendations, but hopefully we'll have more information about what to recommend coming up on RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Noel, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Christy H, thank you for the super chat. Going on an adventure in October. Any ideas for St. Croix and Tortola? I've not been to Tortola. For St. Croix, look up the Sandcastle Beach Resort. You can get a day pass there. We went there many years ago. It's a nice thing to do, so I would recommend that for St. Croix. I apologize for not having any recommendations for Tortola. If anybody in the chat has a recommendation for what to do in Tortola, please type it in chat. Help Christy out there. Let's see here. I think I'm caught up with the chat, believe it or not. Am I going on an adventure in June 24? I am not. Gandhi wants to know, what are my thoughts on Utopia of the Seas, doing only 3 nights in the Bahamas? So Gandhi, tomorrow, I'm going to give you a little spoiler. Tomorrow's YouTube video that we're going to be posting on our channel is all about why Utopia of the Seas doing 3-night cruises is part of Royal Caribbean's master plan. I don't know why I said it like that. It's really interesting. Check out tomorrow's video about my thoughts on that. It's kind of an interesting master plan they've got over there. Had heard you like Fort Lauderdale and Tampa. Any favorite ports outside of Florida? The new terminal in Galveston is really nice, so probably that one. I hate the LA cruise terminal. I don't know why it's run inefficiently over there. Bayonne, New Jersey is just middle ground. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just, it's not great. It's not good. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just good, I guess. So San Juan, Puerto Rico, it's pretty small and old. It was fine though. Galveston, I like Galveston. I love new cruise terminals. It really makes a difference. So I'm going to say Galveston, Texas is my other favorite one right there. They're talking about the e-docs, you think, Pascal? Okay. Well, for that case, don't worry. Just print out the luggage tag. That's all you need. So if it's the e-doc, which is the huge PDF document, just the luggage tag is all you need to print out there. The only thing is I would print out. Let me make this. You know what, Pascal? I'm going to do what politicians do. The number one rule, if you're in politics, is answer the question you wanted them to ask you, not the question that they actually asked you. So instead, I'm going to say the only thing you should print is the luggage tags, and then the set sail passes will be on the Royal Caribbean app, and that's all you need. That's what I do every single time. How long does the mustard drill take? as long as it takes for you to walk down to the station. I mean, there's 3 steps. The first step is for you to watch the safety video. The second step is for you to listen to the emergency drill. Both of those steps are done through the Royal Caribbean app. The last step for you to do is simply report to your muster station. They'll scan your CPAS card. If it takes 5 minutes, that's a pretty long one, quite frankly, which I absolutely love. They've done a great job with that. Caitlin loves travel. Thank you for the super chat. Caitlin says, "Hi, Matt. Getting married on Royal Caribbean in 24. I've been working with Brandy from MEI Travel, who's amazing, by the way. And she's been great. Any tips for a wedding cruise?" Oh, ask Brandy. Brandy got married on Royal Caribbean. You should be asking her, not me. We have some articles at royalcaribbeanblog.com about wedding tips if you want to search for that. My tip, number 1, ask Brandy. I'm serious. She's a great resource. She just did it herself. Number 2, have everybody in your wedding party book through Brandy, because it's so much easier. If everyone's in a group together, you can save money because you can form a group with Royal Caribbean, book with a travel agent, book with the same travel agent. That'll really help quite a bit. But Brandy will be a good resource for you because she just got married herself on Royal Caribbean. Carrie wants to know, is it possible for your stateroom price to go down if your category sold out? Yes, but you can't check it on your own. You're going to be beholden on your travel agent to check if there's a lower price. It's kind of weird, but that's the only issue when it's sold out. It's hard for you to determine on your own without bothering them, hey, is the price lower? So, yeah. But it is possible. I've definitely seen it before. Let's see here. Beachy Mama, how are you? Good to see you. Maria wants to know, what time does the check-in sign up open? Is that ship time? Yeah, it's ship time. So it's midnight wherever the embarkation port is. So like if you live in LA and your cruise is going out of New York, then it would be 9 p.m. Pacific time, midnight Eastern. Yeah, kind of weird like that, but that's how it works. Andy Hall, Andy, thank you for the super chat. Which is better to get classic soda and non-alcoholic a la carte, or purchasing the drink package? A 3-day cruise, I drink about 4 to 3 beverages a day. You're right on the cusp. I would probably say a la carte, not with the drink package, because if you go 1 day, you only have 2, then that'll be better to do a la carte. So probably a la carte. Of course, if you have the drink package, then you'll be more inclined to drink more, I think. But probably I think you're just under where it makes sense. So I say go for a la carte in your situation. Danny DiMatteo, thank you, Danny, for the super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you, my friend. And our last question, I think, is going to be coming from William. Late to the party. Sorry, no worries. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Just found out that my passport book was approved. So all I need for Royal Caribbean for identification of my passport book, correct. That's all you need. Yeah. I said this earlier, but the only thing you need to get on board the cruise ship is your passport, your ID, right? If you forget your SSL pass, they got you covered. Luggage tags, they can make one there for you. It's really just your passport and a credit card, somewhere to money you're going to need. But other than that, that's all you need. SSL pass is a good idea. Definitely bring that as well, and your luggage tags. But from an identification perspective, passport is all you need right there. I lied about that being the last question because this will be the last question. Coming to us from Two Crazy Ketos. Live in Fort Lauderdale. Help between cruises September 24th. Getting Ocean View balcony, 5 night Independence, Grand Cayman, and 6. Or which one should I pick? What are the ships? Ocean View, Independence, or Oasis? Oh, I go for Oasis. The itinerary is not as good. I get that. Actually, see, both Jamaica is not Falmouth is I hate to say it, it's a bad port. Not a lot to do. It's a struggle for a lot of people. So you got that going. So it's really Labadee or Grand Cayman. Labadee you could dock in. Grand Cayman is still very nice, but requires a tender ride. I think in this case the ship trumps it. Oasis is what I would pick right there. And of course, the Teresa McChain. Teresa, thank you for the super chat. Late to the party, man. When Tony Diaz beats you by like 45 minutes, that's not a good look. But always good to see you here, Teresa. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you. JT, do I take my passports on excursions? I do indeed. Yes, unless it's like Hook or Labadee, but anywhere else, absolutely every single time. All right, guys. That is all the time I have time for today. Thank you so much for everybody for being here. Thank you to all our super chatters. You guys are amazing. As you know, super chats are never expected or required, but always appreciated when people do that. Thank you all so much. Next week, we'll be live, I hope, fingers crossed, at home with you guys to do another YouTube live here on YouTube. Until then, have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. We'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Bye, everybody.